Oh, there's something wrong with my. Ugh,
You
you
right?
guys can't see me.
Yeah, we can. Don't worry.
Oh,
Right.
good.
Hi guys, welcome to another Twine Hangout. My name's Joe Scarf. I'm the Community and Marketing Manager at Twine. And if you've not heard about Twine before, then it's a network that brings creative people together to help them collaborate and find paid work. You can find us at www.twine.fm or by downloading our apps for iPhone and iPad. Today I've got Calvin and Michael here, and we're going to be talking about authenticity. And Calvin, just wanted to start with you. I mean, obviously you're a mixing engineer rather than a producer, so that has a different meaning in terms of authenticity. But all us musicians are starting with, essentially the same musical training of, scales, chords. How do you make sure that during that learning process you don't just become a carbon copy of the people you're studying?
Oh, that's a really good question, man. Hmm. That's a really good question because I mean sometimes when you're in, because sometimes I'm in the studio in the creation process. Um, maybe somebody will ask me to pick up the bass and they will try to describe, can you do this and make it sound like this, and you know, um, like a lot of people would use like terms. Can you make it sound like one way and not the other? And I think what it is. I think, like I said, it's a very difficult question. Like how to really how to be unique when we're so influenced by so much different music out there.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible to be unique. Like we're all a product of influence, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that depend on what you mean by unique? I mean, surely what it means is that people listen to you and they don't immediately think of another artist, but they think, oh, he's got a bit of this, he's got a bit of that. But it's more like soup, right? So you can have a soup that no one tried before, but all the ingredients in it are still, you're not inventing a new type of food or a new vegetable. You're just combining ingredients together in a fresh way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes, I mean, if I was to find, I like neo soul music. I need to type neo soul music into a search bar to find neo soul. So sometimes, I need that guilty by association. I need for me to find music that I like. I'm going to associate it with different artists, and sometimes there's nothing wrong to be associated with an artist. To be completely unique, this day and age, where everyone looking for a career full time, it's very hard to be completely eradicate, style and form that that makes conventional pop. I mean, imagine changing, I don't know. We don't hear much music in 3/4. You know what I mean?
Right.
In pop, just to say to a rapper, hey, let's do a rap song in a major key. That'd be almost weird.
Right.
So
yeah.
Sometimes you have to fit a form and convention, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is unique,
right,
and likes to think they're unique. Not be afraid of, there's a rapper that I know. He kind of sounds Drake-ish, but his subject matter is different, and that's nothing wrong with that. When Kanye West came out, I'm actually surprised how many rappers are kind of rapping like Kanye West. You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't see nothing wrong with it personally, but I could see how one rapper said to another rapper in my studio, "Bro, you sound a little bit too much like Kanye West. Like, can you change your style? Like, change your inflections? Change your approach."
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Sorry, that's my daughter walking in. Hey. Where's your mother? But,
there's something important I'd like to add there. Which I remember the music producer Square Pusher. He was on Channel 4 years ago, and he was asked this question, and he gave a really good answer, I thought, which was that all musicians are somewhere in the middle between, on one hand, the cheesiest, most beige music outgoing, and on the other hand, something that sounds like a monkey's just gone and picked up your instrument and is just thrashing it about. And all of us are somewhere in the middle between those two, and we're just trying to find where we want to be. Do you want to be on the monkey side or the cheese side?
You know what? It's funny that we're on the verge of sanity and madness. But isn't that music? You know, we always we don't make music just to say safe. Otherwise, that's boring, right? And we're influenced to do stuff. Like I heard from Michael, you know, he was saying he's starting to merge sort of big room with rap, and I was like, man, that's pretty interesting. I don't hear a lot of that, and it's that thirst for you know, experimenting, and you know, we all want to be on that maiden voyage of something new, but we have to take something that we recognize first, and then take it to that another level. Like now I'm hearing, you know, soul trap or trap soul, and you know how you approach that genre, where you hear kind of the trap hats along, you know, soul music. Now the concept of using something that's hard like a hip hop beat over soul music is not foreign to us now, but at the time when, you know, sort of Mary J. Blige, the amount of syllables that she was putting inside a measure or a bar was quite new. You know, it's pretty out there now. Like Beyonce is kind of, that's her career. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
And you know, Beyonce, let's face it, technically she's safe. You know, like Erykah Badu, you know, with the hip hop soul that she's doing nowadays. That's not really new. Mary J. Blige was doing that, you know, it seems sort of 10, 15 years before that. But that's music, man. Like we're sampling, technically. We like certain aspects, and you know, and making it into a musical form.
Right, exactly. Michael, for you, how much is being original a challenge?
Yeah, of course. It's every producer challenge, I think, because every producer should have their own style. Like they should have something, what you say, authentic.
Right, okay, but how do they actually go about achieving that?
I'm sorry?
How do they actually go about achieving that? You know, we were just saying before with Calvin that everyone starts out with basically the same ingredients. How do you learn to mix them together in a way that's both appealing to people, commercially viable, but also distinctively you?
Well, for me, the best way to like trying it by yourself, like you know, I make almost all of my track are big room, but you heard my last song, which is hardstyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is hardstyle, and what I sent to Calvin is progressive house, and I have something more, which is a trap song. Pretty much, I just tried them out. Like this genre is interesting, so I tried them, just like that.
Right. Calvin, in terms of mixing work, I mean, obviously, the way a track's mixed can make the difference between, you know, a top polished pop track and something that flumps, right? But
yes.
What kind of research do you do, you know, when you get something that's really out there and not something you've not experienced before?
Wow. Okay. Another good question. I'm working with a guy called John Ebden, and he's blending folk with country tinges with Americana. And this is a guy who's grown up with Pearl Jam, you know. So we're already talking about like 4 different styles of music, and I walk into this scenario as a producer and engineer not knowing any of them really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my approach to research is the making and breaking of not only the music that we're doing, but just the relationship I have with, the trust that I need to get with the artist.
Right.
So by a relationship. So I spend hours listening to Pearl Jam. And Pearl Jam really, I think there's one song in the 12 that kind of has that, and if you listen to it, you'd be like, I don't really hear Pearl Jam, I'm sure, but I really wanted to know what his influences were and where we're going in the project. So, yeah, I have to listen to a lot of music, but he's also, he's a music lover of all styles, and I think this is the reason why we end up working, because I like to do all different things, and I like to have a freshy approach to everything, which means I can look at it as a pure art form, as opposed to I'm just a pure fan, and I find it hard to take those influences. Like, for example, I have a big hip-hop background, strong beats, with the kick and the snare. The relationship of the kick and snare is important in hip-hop music. But I also come from a bass culture, with reggae music, and the kick and the snare isn't prevalent, whereas the bass guitar is, and the organ and the scan guitar, the relationship between the bass and the guitar is important. So
yeah,
I think it's important for me to understand the form and convention and adopt it, like really absorb it, and I endeavor to use research to get closer to the artist, and so that I can be an effective servant in the studio, so to speak, to give and bring about what they're looking for.
Yeah. I think what I'd like to get in this hangout is down to the nuts and bolts of originality, because I personally get fed up seeing videos of producers who basically make it seem like their originality is something that's like magic, that they got there because they just got this genius that allowed them to get there. That's just not the case at all. That everyone starts out with basically the same ingredients, the same tools, and then just a few of them manage to hit on what people want, but they obviously got there through deliberate decisions. Other people can not replicate exactly what they did, but can replicate the mindset and the choices. So, Michael, if someone came to you and said, look, I'm struggling to be original, when you hear in their sound, they're just obviously copying some prog house producer or big room or whatever, what advice would you give to them to start bringing more spice to their style?
Like bring more originality.
Yeah.
What's it? I'm pretty confused, really. But what should? Yeah, really. But what should you do? Actually, just as I said, try it by yourself. Like, try to find your style, your music style. Like, if you love big room, try to make big room. And then if you like these, try these. And if you like these, try these. Not like if you like, for example, you like hip hop, and then directly you just go into another genre. It will be really hard. Like, you produce maybe progressive house to get with the trend. Like this year's trend is really on big room. Like big festival like Ultra or Tomorrowland. That it's pretty much the song on there is big room song,
right?
And because of that, you just want to get on with the trend. No, just stay with your favorite genre, and try, as I said, try it by yourself. Like, personally, I love hip hop. Yeah, I love trap. I love future bass, but I never made any future bass because it's really freaking hard for me, because that transition between progressive house and future bass, which is really far away.
Yeah.
But I always try, and finally now I can make another genre like hardstyle or even trap. I mean, like,
Right.
which is pretty far like from progressive house, which is my main genre. So yeah,
Okay.
that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I think I'd like to get even more down into the nuts and bolts because.
Go for it.
Okay, so Calvin, let's say, right, there are so many producers that are just starting out, and
Yeah.
you know they've done a few tracks, and to them it sounds incredible because they've gone from not having material to suddenly something that sounds, I don't know, a quarter, a half, even 3/4 away to someone that they admire. So they have a decision at that point. They either promote it hard, but then actually they get a lot of flack because it's not really got anything that's original or interesting about it, and the production quality is not as good as the people they're trying to emulate. Or they can keep making tracks themselves forever and then end up with like 2,000 tracks that are just sat on a hard drive, don't get out there, they don't promote themselves, they spent so much time and resources. As a producer, you said before we started that it's a big learning curve. What have you learned about managing each of those so you don't end up in either extreme?
Personally, that's why I like engineering. You know? So you've actually mentioned the worst side of production, and let's talk about the ugly here for a second. You know, I know hip hop producers that make probably 15 hip hop loops, you know, beats in a week, and probably only one or two of them are decent enough to make their mixtape, B tape as they call it. And then, you know, maybe out of that beat tape, you know, only 3 or 4 of them are sold. You know,
Right.
that's a lot of hours to get in those 3. And you know, I respect hip hop producers. Their frustration is that they have to do this trap style because that's the only thing that people are listening in the commercial end, buying it on the business end, and then, you know, they want to be more experimental, and so they got, you know, stuff, and I hear it all the time in studios. So I'm not just speaking completely, you know, off the top of my dome here, but man, me personally, that's why I like engineering, because we're talking about a particular song and trying to make that sound as good as possible. And my relationship with producers is just to help realize the best potential out of their track. But I'm also in a band, and like, it's very hard to song for an album because you know that some of the activities that you're having in the studio is gonna, I won't say lay to waste. Nothing's really wasted because you're still in the business of finding. It's like a quest of that perfect tune. You know, Jack Black, the best song in the world. You're still trying to write the best song in the world. You know, that's hard, man. It's like you sometimes you feel like you're complicating things, and then you're dumbing it down too much, and then, you know, I don't know. I had that problem. So if anyone's watching this and, you know, if they're having the same thing, you know, it'd be great for you to chime in and discuss that. You know, it's very hard to find a goal. What's our aims? Like, we say it in our studio a lot. Like, are we aiming for?
Oh, Calvin, hang on. We just dropped you for a second. Say that again. Oh, hang on. We've just lost Calvin. Michael, let's reframe that question to you. What's your aim as an artist? What do you actually want to bring to the genres you make music in?
Sorry?
I said,
really?
As an artist, what are your aims in terms of what you want to change in terms of the genres you work in?
Oh, I can't hear you well.
You know, like we keep.
Oh.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't hear you well. Okay. Repeat
Right.
the question, sorry.
What are your aims as an artist in terms of what do you want to bring or change in progressive house through your music?
Oh, I got it. Yeah. How's it? How to tell it? I just want to do what am I liking? I like to do like if I like these, I'll do this and I'll add this. So for example, I'm producing a new song, and then I want to make it different, and then maybe I want the song to be influenced like Tiesto Secret.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Maybe I want to make something like that, combine it with Hartwell style, which is so hard.
Right.
And then I'll try to make like okay, so I think the intro should be harder than the drop, and then the drop is much more softer and more progressive, and the intro, the breakdown is big room style, which is just combining, keep trying.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Calvin, just to get back to you, sorry we lost you there. We were just talking about aims, and I was saying that ultimately what it comes down to is what do you want to change or get other artists questioning in the genres you're working in. Do you think that's the aim that we should all have?
Nah. It's a aim, but I don't think it's the aim that we should all have. I mean, I remember when I first got into music, it was because it was cool. You know what I mean? I wanted to be cool. I was, 15, 16, and my access to music, actually it was earlier than that. My dad bought me a clarinet and I ended up joining the orchestra, and I was like, there's not a saxophone. Oh! So we need to, there's many different ways of why we're coming to music, and,
right.
You hear it all the time when you talk to the musicians. Yeah.
But does the ease of access to music, does that make it harder to be original? Do you think, Calvin?
No, I think we're influenced by more different genres because the programs like Spotify and apps, shall I say, like Spotify and iTunes, help you discover new bands, help you discover new sounds, and by that source sounds like association.
Yeah.
We used to rely on Amazon and looking at whatever other people have purchased. Whoever designed that has changed my discovery of new sound. And now it's, I don't use Spotify, I use iTunes, but it's now Spotify and iTunes that allows us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think access to music doesn't stifle music. It means that we have, it's more, we've got competing airwaves. Let's face it, our screen time is up now. We have laptop when we used to have desktops. Yeah. So our laptop we can put a laptop everywhere. We have cell phones. So now, we can access to music on a cell phone on the go. We didn't have to just purchase a particular CD or vinyl, wait for it, go buy it. You wouldn't go, ooh, what else is there? You'd be like, look, this is all I can afford. So you're only looking at what you could afford.
But then the other side of that,
we can,
the other side of that, I think, is that it means that everything we listen to is in the context of other artists. Like, let's say you're on some genre playlist, or I don't know, they say you listen to this artist, so listen to this artist. It's always in the context of being referred to from someone else. So you're always being defined by other people. Does that not take away a bit from your originality?
That's what you're paying for, though, isn't it?
What do you mean?
That's what. Well, I mean, if you knew what you wanted to listen to, then you would just go out to the store and purchase.
Right.
But you wanted this. You want the commodity, so to speak. You want that. You want to stay in a certain. And I'm looking at the customer end. We want to be entertained. You know what I mean? So keep me entertained, and I'll keep paying them the money. And I think the money's showing what we want.
Right.
Ultimately.
Okay.
And on the flip side, that I don't listen to radio anymore. Who here has listened to radio for longer than, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes?
Me. Yeah. I'm unusual.
But the question is why. I mean, well, no, but I mean, you might like that playlist, you might like that DJ or that personality. You may want to be surprised. Maybe you want to see what they are thinking, talking, sharing.
To be honest, I'm listening to stuff at 2 or 3 in the morning, or I listen to it the next day, because that's when the cool stuff's on. That's when they're saying, we're going to Paris now, there are these amazing DJs. I'm always listening to Radio 1 late at night because that's where the cool stuff is. But I feel like, for a lot of people, they're just getting fed algorithms that are pumping out. You think about tracks by Seed that have been getting really popular, that's mainly driven through Spotify playlists, right? So people aren't making that decision through their own artistic choices. They're being told by, I suppose it's no different to how it used to be with labels though, right? And shops could only have a certain shelf space for the top 40 records. Nothing's changed in that way. But,
I was about to say that. Radio is exactly the same way. The commercial radio stations is exactly the same way. Maybe you're right. BBC One, Radio One, the whole radio, BBC product selections is not based on commercial money. It's all taxpayers' money. So I totally understand that, and it's unique. And I kind of wish that we had that over here, but here in the US, it's all commercially driven. Anything that's listener funded, quality sometimes, and also the selection of music is different as well. But I think you have to you got to purchase what you like, right? I subscribe to iTunes so I can have access to music, so I can do better research without paying for it, like the actual CDs.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I do miss though. I miss album notes. I miss where they were recorded, who mixed and produced it. I miss all of that. With your music, you used to have all the information in the back. I wish that you could just single tap and see all that information. I don't know what it's like on Spotify, so if that's going on Spotify, pardon my ignorance, but I miss that because sometimes you would like the producer and used to, see what else they produced.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So, guys, just as kind of one final note to this, what would be your advice to producers starting out and to producers who are more established to make sure that they're doing their research and are original and constantly innovating? Calvin.
Firstly, for anyone starting out, and persevere, know what you love, and love what you do. Just keep doing that. It's important because if you no longer love it, it becomes a chore, and then you have some expensive gear, and then you're never going to get the return on investment. You know what I mean? In fact, you're never going to get a return on investment unless you love what you do. So stick to what you love, and constantly feed yourself with new sounds, because that can only better your craft and make you more. The more you sort of take on, look at different genres and stuff. Jay Dilla, if you're a hip hop fan and you're a Jay Dilla fan, you listen to a lot of jazz. You didn't listen to other hip hop, you listen to jazz. So maybe there's a hallmark that most real innovators listen to something outside of what they're innovating themselves. So maybe there's a lesson to be learned. But there's nothing wrong in loving your genre so much that you want to participate to the ongoing sound. And don't be afraid if someone says you sound like that, because that really is, kudos for saying, hey man, look, I know you just started out and you already sound like that person. So if you keep going, accept more, and you can start to innovate as you go along. I just don't want to jump on anyone saying, hey, don't sound like this person. I picked up the bass because of James Jameson. I still don't sound like James Jameson. I sound like me. But if it wasn't for James Jameson and the quest of James, like trying to get that James Jameson sound, well, for one, I realized later on I had the wrong bass. And then obviously I don't do everything with one finger quite as quickly. but I discovered my own sound for it, and now people want to use me in their bands and stuff. So I still find that trip.
Yeah, I think that was definitely good words of advice. Michael, what would be your words of advice to someone starting out to help them be original and innovate?
Well, the first thing should be don't copy anyone's style. Like, use them as reference, but never copy them.
So you and Calvin are on opposite ends of the spectrum here. Sorry, carry on.
Right. Yeah. So, for example, you love Kashmir's song, which is pretty complicated and complex and progressive house style, and he has his own style. And you say, "Wow, this producer or this DJ is great," and because of you love them, you try to make a song that same, but actually you can't, because not saying that you don't have the skill, but you don't have their style. As I said before, every different people has every different styles, which is then you should develop your own style, like use them as reference and combining those, yeah, just mix them up and you'll then yeah, you know, got your own style in the future.
Okay, I think that's interesting. To summarize then, maybe there's two key components to this. On one side, you've got what Calvin's saying, which is that if someone is saying, hey, you sound like this guy, that is kudos that you've got the skills to make something that, you know, matches what they're doing. But ultimately, you don't want to just produce stuff that's continually churning out that. You want to use that as an ingredient, but not the entire recipe.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Nice one, guys. Yeah, shorter one this time because I was hoping to get Fardy and Jacinta in on, but can't get hold of them. So maybe do another point, but definitely some useful stuff. And yeah, thanks very much, everyone. Have a good day.